What's up guys, my name is Liam, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the ATK RS6 Ultra. This is a 65% keyboard that I've been getting several requests to review due to the fact that this is supposed to have some of the best performance and lowest latency out there on the market. So in this video I'm going to be breaking down how my experience has been with it so far, and hopefully I'll be able to help you decide whether or not this could possibly be the perfect gaming keyboard for you. So let's check it out. Before we get started today, I did want to let you know this was sent out to me. However, everything you will be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside of the box, it does come with a keycap and switch puller, this USB-C to USB Type-A cable, some documentation, 4 additional switches, some stickers, some extra foam, and then this also does come with these additional keycaps. As far as the external design on this goes, I feel like they did a really solid job with the layout of this. Nothing about it has stuck out that's been bothering me. I really like how it does have a control key over here, the delete key up here at the top. Coming over here, you do have the USB-C connectivity up here in the top left hand side, and then over here on the rear it does have these 4 rubberized feet up in each one of the corners. I do like the look of this from the back, even though these rubberized feet are on the smaller end. The entire time that I've been using this has been pretty grippy and planted on my desk. I have really enjoyed using this keyboard because I feel like the front of it is really low and it has a very rounded front end here, so it does feel very soft. And this is an all aluminum case, and I really feel like that the design and cutouts on this, that they've done a really great job. It honestly looks fantastic. And when you do lift this up, you can tell that there is a really good weight to it. So dropping this on my scale, looks like we got it coming in at 1,308 grams. Here's a look of the keycaps that do come included, and these are a die sub PBT. For the switch options with the RS6 Ultra, when I picked this up, you had 2 different choices. You could either get the TTC RGB Magneto switches or the Gateron Jade gaming switches. I would have preferred the Gateron Jade gaming switches myself. However, for whatever reason, they only had those switches available in the pink colorway. I've already gone over these TTC style switches many times. Here's a quick look of what these switches do look like. And the reason I do slightly prefer the Gateron switches over these TTC, I just feel like these switches are a bit more aggressive. They have a harsher feeling to them, where the Gateron just feel a little bit softer. And this version of the TTC switches, they are honestly very loud. I'll go ahead and kind of put it up here close to the mic so you can see what those sound like. We'll also drop a sound test here just in a little bit. But really quickly about these switches, they are really lightweight. They have a really fast rebound. They are rated of an actuation force of around 35 GF, and they have a total travel distance of 3.4 millimeters. But the one thing I will say about these TTC switches is that the stem wobble on them, there's hardly any stem wobble there at all. So you get a really smooth actuation. They're nice and fast and very responsive. Here's a close-up look of what the PCB looks like underneath these switches themselves. It does have a bottom or south-facing LED, and the stabilizers, they do come pretty heavily pre-lubed in here. This is using what seems to be an aluminum switch plate. As you can see here, there's screw holes where this is mounted into the bottom of the aluminum case. Once you do pull this out and remove it, right below that you do have some foam in between the switch plate and the PCB. Here's a really quick close-up shot of what that PCB looks like. And then right underneath that PCB, you also do have a really thin piece of foam here. There is some type of a plastic sheet down here also in the bottom. So this is easily one of the loudest sounding 65% keyboards that I do have. So let's go ahead and drop a really quick sound test. Now we'll take a look here at the web driver. Once you do click in here, get into these settings. If this is in Chinese or anything like that, come down here to this button. This is where the settings is. Over here is where you can change this to either a dark theme, or you can change it over here to English, as you can see there. Next up, it starts out here with this change key setting, where you can just change the keys on the keyboard if you wanted to adjust the function options or anything like that. Next tab, you do have your lighting options, a bunch of different presets, can control the brightness, and right down here, if it ever shuts off, Then over here, you have the performance settings. This is the most important to get everything set up. You do have these presets over here, which is a pretty cool addition. I'll go ahead and click on one of these. Usually gives you an audio cue so you could check it out.
妙在，妙在。
And as you can see, here's the settings for this preset. They also do have this one right here.
对对对，太对了。
Here's where you can see the settings for that one. Or if you wanted to do it yourself, set up your own presets,
预
you
设
can
虽
come over
好
here.
可别去炸鱼哟。
Come over here and press apply right here to get your own type of a preset set up. So once you do get in here, if you do want to adjust it yourself, as you can see, you can either select all keys right here. You can either do WASD, just do individual ones, things like that. So I'll go ahead and just click really quick here. We'll do this one right here just to give you an example. So with the keys I have installed, or the switches I have installed in here, excuse me, it does allow you to go as low as 0.050 millimeters. Then you can make adjustments in 0.001 millimeters. So some really insane sensitivity right here. And then as far as the rapid trigger settings go as well, you can come over here and as you can see the repress and the release separately. You can also make adjustments on these as well as low as 0.001 millimeters all the way up to 3.3 millimeters. Just to let you guys know, I have been testing this out on these lowest settings. I do get accidental presses sometimes, even some releases. So this keyboard is extremely sensitive. It can get too sensitive, as a matter of fact. You can just kind of come in here and fine tune this however it works best for you. Next up, you do have these additional dead zone settings as well down here. On this next tab is where it allows you to select the correct switches that you currently do have installed inside of your keyboard. And then on this next tab is where you can come in here and calibrate each one of the keys. Again, I always recommend doing this as soon as you get the keyboard out of the box. First, I recommend updating the firmware if it's available, because if you calibrate it, then update the firmware. You're gonna have to come back here and recalibrate it anyway. So update the firmware, make sure you have the correct switches selected, then come in here and do a calibration. And then again, once you do update the firmware each time, you want to come in here and do that as well. This keyboard actually does give you a notification to do that after you update the firmware. It does say that it recommends to come over here and to update these calibration on it. I've been using this false touch prevention mode. Again, even with this on, I have on really sensitive settings, I still get some accidental key presses. And then you also do have this option right here. If you don't want to use as low as the 0.001 millimeter actuation distance, you can turn this off. And then once you do disable that, come back over here. The lowest this will allow you to adjust is a 0.1 millimeter. And then over here for the rapid trigger, the lowest you can go is, you could do 0.005 millimeter increments. And in all honesty, this is still going to be good enough for probably 99% of people if you didn't want to come over here and enable this option. Next up for the advanced key setting is where you can set up DKS, TJL, Rappy Snappy, SOCD. I've showed examples of this several times before in previous software. Next tab is where you have the macro settings. And then over here on the final other settings tab, this is where you'll need to come to check and see if there's a firmware update. It'll usually tell you down here. And so far I have updated the firmware on this keyboard a couple times. Everything's gone super smooth. I haven't ran into any issues while I was doing so. All right, guys, so that about wraps things up on the ATK RS6 Ultra. Where this keyboard shines is I really do feel like this is very clearly geared towards esports and gaming players. With these TTC switches, the one thing I will say is if you look here at the enter key, even on the space bar, I get like no movement with the keys installed on this. So the actuation of this feels really smooth, really fast, and honestly the performance on this keyboard is just insane. It's a little too insane, as I mentioned, if you are going to be using the highest settings, you know, getting those accidental key presses and stuff like that. Once I've got this configured to work out properly and consistent as I've been using it, honestly, everything about the playability of this keyboard, I would definitely put this up there at the top of the list as being one of the best performance styled keyboards out there currently on the market. Some of the downsides of this keyboard, it's a little bit too loud and clacky sounding for me, especially over here on the space bar. That could just be due to the switches. Again, I kind of wish I could have got the Gaterons in here. Probably would have preferred those a little bit more myself. And as far as the internal designs or the internal materials that they did use in this keyboard, they do appear to be a little bit on the cheaper end, you know, ditching the gasket mounting system. So there are some other keyboards in this price range that I'd say just feel just a little little bit more premium overall. I do feel like they've done a pretty good job with their web-based driver. It's really easy to move around and navigate and make the types of adjustments that I needed to make to get this keyboard set up and running properly. So though there are some things that I wish were done a little differently on this keyboard, I can say that I would recommend it for somebody who prefers stability and performance above anything else, because all around the performance on this really has been fantastic to game on. So if you feel like I left anything out and have any additional questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.